this afternoon, just before hopping on here, is oh, I just start speaking and then we're ready to go. That's okay. Let's log on. Adding. I think it's adding.
Hello.
Hello.
I finally made it.
Fantastic. I was going to turn you down to add you at maximum volume then.
Oh my God, I can hear myself.
Okay. Hello. I think this is the first time we've spoken, well, screen to screen, face to face.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And you. I was just trying to have a little bit of a chat with our viewers, discussing why we were going live. But you're here now, so we can do it properly. So those of you that are watching, may I introduce Master Claire Crosbie of the ITC, Scotland representative, and I believe you're a 6th degree. Is that right?
7th degree.
7th degree. Oh, there we go. 7th degree. It's okay. I keep doing the same to Master McNally, calling him a 6th degree when he's a 7th. Okay. If we can, may I ask when and where you started your martial arts journey?
Yes, I started on the 28th of October 1991, and it was in the small village that I brought up in, which was a wee village called Longridge.
Okay.
A very small village. Wasn't much to do. It was one of my mum's friends' son. He wanted to go along and try this new class that had been held in the local hall, and I went along with him, and he left and I never.
All right. Well, that's lovely. I remember when I started, it was my dad that started first, and I chickened out the first time. I said, no, I don't want to go. But I'm glad I went the second time.
Yeah.
What, my mind went blank then. What inspired you to start? Was it just one of those that you just sort of went along?
Yeah, absolutely. There was nothing else to do in the village, and I was really just going to chum my friends. And I just, the first night I went, I absolutely fell in love with the class and fell in love with everything about it, and I just stayed with it.
Yes. I think a lot of people do that. So I've never been into normal sports like football and stuff, but this just hit me. So I think we've had the same sort of bug there. What would you say were your favourite elements when you first started? Or if you had any?
Instantly, I did quite like the structure and the discipline in class. That was something that I really enjoyed, and I think it's the confidence that I was given right at the start, like my second night there, and my instructor time was so impressed with the technique I was doing. He asked me to perform for the class.
Okay.
And then I just thought, yeah, this is something I can do. The confidence came quite quickly, and the belief that I could do this.
Fantastic. And how often did you used to train in the beginning?
That said, that was only 2 times it was on and off.
Yeah. Okay. I know a lot of when you speak to a lot of the guys that trained way back when, they always go, "Oh, I trained 7 times a week and this, that, and the other." But I think I think we've got a bit of a parallel going on, because I started off the same, and then my instructor said, "Oh, you know, we've got another class here now." And I imagine, did you do the same? You sort of picked up extra classes the further you went along?
I started doing more classes when I became an adult and was able to drive myself. The reason I did those 2 classes initially because they were in the village. There were other classes held in other areas, but I wasn't able to get them, just obviously being a junior and being a child.
Yeah.
But when I became an adult and was then responsible myself for the classes, I had all of them. So I was there pretty much 7 days.
Brilliant. What was I going to say? Oh yes. What were you much of a tournament goer? Because I know that that's
Yes.
something that always gets pushed in most Taekwondo circles. So
Yes.
you like tournaments?
I did. I competed from 1994 up until 2007. I retired for competitions back in 2007 when I won the Euros.
Okay.
So I knew I was going to retire at that time because the following year I was going to be getting married, and I knew I wouldn't be able to have the same commitment training that needed.
Okay.
And I was also opening my own school. So I just kind of stepped out the competition and then went into instructing and focusing on the school. And so my role kind of changed.
Yes. Yeah. So you sort of went from the student competitor into the instructor.
Yes.
See what you mean?
Yeah.
Was it patterns and sparring you competed in?
Well, the national ones, yeah. But when it came to the Europeans and stuff like that, obviously picked for categories. So each individual would be picked whatever pattern category, and if there were other people who were more interested or maybe better for certain categories, then they would obviously maybe pick. So I was picked to patterns. 43 patterns is what I competed in, and that was what I won that year when I decided to retire.
Okay. Lovely. Sorry, I love learning about other martial artists. It's one of my things. You'll see if sometimes I'll find someone on Facebook and they'll add me. I go, you know, where did you start? And I'll start getting to this sort of discussion. I do enjoy. Now I'm just going to move on a little bit because we are having a little seminar with you in February. On the application of the Taekwondo patterns, and I was wondering how you got into that sort of area. Was that part of your moving into your instructor role, or was it sort of from some other source?
That's an area that I've always been interested in. I've always enjoyed patterns. I've always enjoyed the technical aspect, because it's the part for me that I find that if you can understand those parts in the martial art as a whole, it's understanding techniques, applications, when to use them, why you use them, how they can be adapted. And if you perform the patterns properly, you're putting yourself into a sparring position because you're imagining it's against an imaginary opponent. So you're imagining how this person's approaching you and how you're reacting to that by doing the techniques that are set out in the diagram. So it's almost like you're learning it as a kind of muscle memory, as just a response that you have. So that when it comes to an actual sparring situation or it's a bit more unpredictable, you have these movements and this knowledge, this understanding that you can just apply it, and you don't have to think about it. You're reacting because that's what you know, that's what you understand.
Yeah.
So that's I've always
muscle memory.
That. Yeah. And just because you have that understanding as well, like if somebody, as you perform your patterns, somebody's attacking you or coming towards you in a particular way, so you're performing the technique to match that. So just that whole understanding, that whole scenario about how to move, when to move, I just find it so fascinating, so interesting.
Yeah. Do you teach the applications and the Husin Sol alongside your 3-step and 2-step, etc., or do you? I know some people use just the Husin Sol and Boon Hay and not the 3-step. Do you use a combination?
Yeah, I tend to. It was funny. I had this conversation with Master McNally when he was up in December. I still like to teach the set 3-step, 2-step sparring because I think it's a good foundation for the students to build on, especially as they're being introduced to the sparring side and learning about how to work with an opponent. But then you can apply that Husin Sol part to it. Like, right, you're up against your opponent. You don't know what they're going to attack you just have to react, and it kind of builds up to there.
Yes. So I think my first experience of that was, well, the first experience of it on a grading was with Master McNally when my mum did her 5th Dan a few weeks back. Our previous group, it was basically 3-step, 2-step, 1-step, competition style sparring and some patterns, and that was your grading done. But we spent an hour and a half doing so many patterns, self-defense exercises. Then he was going, right, now do that, but with a throw at the end. Do that, but you've been grabbed by the hair from behind this time. And it's so varied, and it's such an interesting topic to approach.
Yeah.
What time is it? Okay. Do you is this an area that you would, as I mentioned earlier, you do your set sparring as well as the Hussin-Sul? Would you be doing the Hussin-Sul and Boonhay with the lower grades, or do you just sort of do, lower grade colour belts do set sparring, and then further along they then do the Hussin-Sul?
Yeah, or it depends on the student. You can gauge it on what they understand about what you're doing. You don't want to overwhelm, especially lower grades. You don't want to overwhelm them. It can be a lot of information to take in, and you don't want them to lose confidence. You want them to do the things that you know is going to keep them confident, keep them interested, so that you don't want that to kind of disappear, because it can be hard at the beginning stages to keep reminding people that no, you're doing absolutely fine. Don't look at other people and think, oh, I'm doing it like them. You want it to be at a level that they can feel comfortable and confident, and they'll keep building from that. So it just depends. Sometimes if it's students that have been training with me for a while, I can throw it in like that, because they know me, they know the class, they know who they're with and things. So they might feel a bit more confident to do that.
Okay.
But I just kind of gauge it and see how each person is, and then you can kind of test the water. You can maybe put something quite basic in and see how they feed off of that, and then you can do something a little bit more difficult, etc., and just keep building it up that way, rather than just throwing them in at the deep end.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that's lovely. Sorry, I've got the feline companion just here.
Mike was here a minute ago. He's went away.
Oh, that's it. She's after me now. Right. Okay. What I wanted to ask before we go off, as a lady starting martial arts when you did you find there was any sort of macho, male bravado in the club, or was it was it a family club, or?
It's changed a lot over the years. Luckily, I was a bit of a tomboy anyway, so I had brothers, I had a lot of friends that were boys. Was used to that kind of, just being around that environment. When I first started, it was very much the black belts didn't interact with colour belts. It was very much a them and us type environment.
Yeah,
there was a line that you did not cross when it came to the black belts.
Okay.
But as that kind of became a bit older, I just stopped. I didn't want to follow those lines. It's like, no, this is a respect environment. If I'm approaching you with respect, you treat me with respect back. It's none of this, you're just a whatever belt. But it's a lot different now. I found that, and I think in my classes especially, I always try and promote the family aspect, because we do have a lot of families who come along. So I always try and promote that. We're all here supporting each other. We're all here to learn together. It's as bad as the kids, unfortunately. If they start talking to me about something, they know how to pull me off my track, and I'll just join in with what they're talking about.
Yes.
Don't talk about superhero films or anything sometimes I'm just right in there with them.
Yeah.
But, you know.
You say at the end of the class, has anyone got anything, any questions, anything they want to say? Sir, I watched Power Rangers last night.
Yes.
Can you do this? I know. Yeah, we have the same. So we are trying to have a family attitude to now. I think at the moment I've got, including my parents, I've got two other over 18s apart from my mum and dad. The rest of them are all kids. So you do have to alter it, don't you? Because I remember when I started, I was 7. The next oldest in the club was like 14 or 15. Yeah. So it was adults and me. But yes, it has changed a lot even from when I started. That was in 97, I think.
And it changed for the better, I think. Before, I think martial arts was just seen as something that only a certain group of people or a certain person. It's certainly opened it up more. It's a lot more inviting, and people are more apt to give it, like to want to come and try it, especially because it's a bit more relaxed. And you want to encourage kids to get into these types of things, because self-defense, in my opinion, is so important these days. Not just the physical part of the self-defense, but I think for students it's all about how you hold yourself. So like standing up straight, you know, the postures and stuff that we have, it's all about how you hold yourself, having your head up, looking ahead, not looking at the floor. It's just, to me, it's also a big part of self-defense itself. Before you do the physical stuff, it's just about having the confidence in yourself. And that's it. It's that very foundation. Just keep building on it.
That's it. I mean, I think a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but certainly some, they come to the martial arts because they're lacking in not only the self-confidence, but the self-worth. And sometimes things like when you're doing 3-step, or they just start doing free sparring, you sort of, sometimes you have to teach them that they matter.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll just stand there and they'll just take the hits and they won't move out of the way. They won't block and they're just standing there taking it. Yeah, come on, you know, you're worth defending yourself. Yeah. And so it can take a little while for them to get into that mindset.
Yeah, definitely. And that's how I think it's important to. What I also kind of try and teach my students is all about using your voice. Like, I don't know if it's the same in your class, but I notice in my class, especially my young students, don't seem to know how to verbally communicate. So I'm very much as well about use your words, use your voice. That could be the very first step in any kind of self-defense.
Yeah. You mean just when they're speaking? Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. If we do this always makes me laugh. We do if we do a specific self-protection workshop, and we're working on the fence and verbal dissuasion, I'll be sort of going, you know, try and calm down, using the hands like this, and it usually degenerates into one of the little ones going like a little mumble with a hand rather than calm down.
Yeah.
They do make right. Was there anything that you'd like to mention before we sign off, Mom?
I don't know. I just hope that people come along and support, not just for my sake, but for you as well. I think it's nice to meet other instructors, other practitioners. Try something a wee bit different. Might be out your comfort zone. That would be a good thing. I absolutely believe that greatness is on the other side of your comfort zone. So it would be nice to see some new people, come along and try, have some fun, because I do always try and make these things fun so that people, it's supposed to be fun. There is a serious side to it, but there is also a fun side to it, because it's something we do for spare time. So you're not wanting to use what little spare time you have to feel like, oh, it's an effort or it's a chore. It's to have fun, have a laugh, and like I said, meet new friends.
I second everything you just said.
That's good.
The first person to admit. I asked you I asked you to come down because, well, I spoke to Master McNally first, and I said, can you recommend a charismatic lady instructor as a positive role model who could, you know, come and work with us and do a seminar? And he said, yeah, Master Crosbie, straight away.
Oh, that's nice.
But, we are looking forward to having you, and I'm totally honest. The seminars are as much for me as they are for the students.
Yes, absolutely.
As an instructor, when you're training by yourself a lot, and occasionally you might join in for sparring or whatever, it's not the same as just being on a class, is it?
Yes, absolutely agree. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, and you deserve the training as well, so why not?
Lovely, thank you. Right, that's all I've got to mention. Any last words, Mom?
None at the moment, just apart from I'm looking forward to coming to see you and see who turns up. I'm looking forward to it very.
Okay, in that case, everyone who's watching, thank you for watching.